I have injuries on my face and my arm and then right knee and then my left legs from back cast and then all between my hips. So this is Friday 15th of March that gunmen shooting the people and murdering to the 50 other peoples and then 39 other victims for injuries from the shotgun. Yeah, and I have 9 bullets in my body, and what doctor said, and 6 bullets taken with operation from my body, and 3 other bullets is just coming and gone or scratch or touch my my body. So, which is doctor said total bullets, 9 bullets on my body.
So you've had 9 bullets hit you?
Yes, hit me.
On March the 15th?
Yes. Yeah, I can see already my future's bright and I'm more different than before because I'm reborn, as I told you now. And I don't know how many days passed, but my new birthday, 15th of March, so 2019.
And in news just ahead, the police say they are responding to a critical incident in Deans Avenue, Christchurch.
The news out of Christchurch is not good. There has been a serious firearms incident at a mosque.
Horror in Christchurch this afternoon after shootings at 2 mosques in the city. There are reports of multiple injuries and fatalities.
New Zealand is in shock this morning after yesterday's terror attacks at 2 Christchurch mosques.
Muslims right around New Zealand are being told to pray from the safety of their homes.
One 28-year-old man is to appear in court this morning charged with murder.
March the 15th, 2019 started very differently to how it ended. My name is Logan Church. I'm the South Island video journalist for Checkpoint at Radio New Zealand. On the morning of March the 15th, the big news story of the day was a climate change protest with thousands of students marching around the country. My cameraman, Simon Rogers, and I went down to Cathedral Square just before 1 o'clock to cover the protest in Christchurch.
RNZ News at 1 o'clock. Good afternoon, I'm Paul Brennan. In Christchurch, the protest is just getting underway. Enthusiasm may have been dampened by the rain.
And why are you here today?
Just to protest climate change and get the government to really think that it's a serious issue.
Yeah. What specific things do you think they need to do to make it more serious?
Provide more funding to it and actually really invest time in it and more people.
We got back to the office at about 20 minutes past 1, and we thought that would be the end of our day. But then the phone rang, and our bureau chief's cell phone started lighting up with text messages from one of my colleagues who had just gone home for the day. Hi. 15 plus cop cars around the Hagley Park area with guns. We quickly figured out that this was happening near the Deans Avenue Mosque, so Simon and I jumped back in the car. We got here a little bit before 2 o'clock in the afternoon at the Deans Avenue and Riccarton Road intersection, and when we jumped out of the car, one of the first things we noticed was a squad of very heavily armed police officers sprinting through these trees in front of me, hopping into a car and speeding off. At that stage we still weren't entirely sure what exactly was happening, but then we saw a man walking along this path here. He was wearing a suit, he had no shoes on, he was just wearing his socks. As he walked, he was looking at the ground, he was walking incredibly slowly, he looked absolutely shocked.
Oh, there was around 1:45. I was stopped right, I heard the big sound, the gun, and the second one I heard, I ran. Lots of people were sitting in the floor. There was a lot of people died, injured.
So you saw a whole lot of blood on the floor?
The floor. There's a lot of blood in the floor.
And then another person walks past and tells me that there is a video of what's happened. I didn't believe it, so I opened my phone and I opened YouTube. And I typed Christchurch mosque shooting, because at that stage that's what we thought had happened. A video came up of a completed live stream. I opened the video and skimmed through it, and I didn't believe it. I didn't believe that it was possible. So I skimmed through it again. And what convinced me that the video was real was actually the number plate on the alleged gunman's car as he opened the boot and took out the guns. At this point, all of the official confirmation we got was that this was a critical incident. That was it. I remember thinking to myself live on air, what on earth do I say? I mean, at that point we knew that dozens of people had been shot and potentially killed, but without any official confirmation, you can't really say that.
RNZ National. Jesse Mulligan with you at 2:25. We're just taking a bit of a break from our regular programming here to cover this breaking news. Let's go to Logan Church, RNZ reporter in Christchurch. Hi, Logan.
Kia ora, Jesse. Yes, I'm standing at the Riccarton and Deans Avenue intersection. You might actually hear sirens behind me. We understand a shooting has taken place at a local mosque here in central Christchurch.
At this point, we were about 100 metres up the road from the mosque, and we could see survivors now coming down the footpath and down the road. Men, women and children all looked shocked, many crying. Many were on the phone to loved ones to try and see if they were okay. And while all this was happening, ambulances and police cars were coming up and down this road, up and down constantly, transporting those injured to Christchurch Hospital, about 2 minutes that way. And across the road, a group of survivors gathered trying to figure out what was happening. One man there had blood all over his hands.
We was praying, and there's one guy here, we hear like a kind of bang in the masjid. After that, we don't know what we thought it's electric fault, and after that, we just another maybe less than half minute, we still hearing the same sound. It's like machine gun. So we all run away. We jump. Some of them jump from the window. Some of them he just stuck in there and being shot by that guy. He's wearing black and helmet, and I just jump from the window. I go in the back of the masjid, and I just hold there until the machine gun stopped. While I'm there, I just calling 111, and I was with them in the phone, which they was hearing the machine gun as well. So I jumped in the neighbors of the masjid to hide up there because he started shooting from outside the masjid, and I was worried about my mother. So when I call my mom, she told me she's in the back. So
is she okay?
She's here.
Is your mother? And you're okay. And you've got blood on your hands.
I have the guy of that lady. He been shot in his back, in his back of his leg. So I just stopped the blood being bleeding, and when I see him, he start shooting outside the masjid. I just run away and jump from the fence to the neighbor.
But if that was bad enough, we then heard about Linwood.
Witnesses say the shooting at the Linwood Islamic Centre lasted for 3 or 4 minutes. Shoaib Ghana was there. He told our reporter Conan Young what happened.
We were praying. In the middle of prayer, we heard multiple gunshots from outside. I thought something's happening. We didn't really bother. But our brother, in between the prayer, went to see outside the window, and he said someone's firing towards the mosque, or something like that. Someone's firing. And then we still didn't break the prayer because it's really important to be in the prayer. But suddenly, from the window, the glass broke and one gunshot come inside.
As the hours wore on, this area actually filled up with people, whether they were residents trying to get home, commuters trying to move across the city, or parents trying to get their kids out of school, which were obviously all in lockdown still at that stage. But we heard so many rumours from people here. Some people told us that the hospital was under attack. Some people told us that there were gunmen running rampant throughout the city. I remember one woman telling me that there were car bombs everywhere and she was too afraid to drive in case her car was a bomb. That sounds absolutely stupid and ridiculous now, but at the time it sounded perfectly reasonable. I mean, everyone was terrified. As the night continued, the sheer scale of what actually happens began to emerge.
RNZ News at 5. The police have confirmed a number of people were killed. RNZ News at 6. The police are unable to say how many people have been killed. News at 8. The Prime Minister has confirmed at least 40 people have died in the 2 shootings in Christchurch. RNZ News at 9. More than 20 are in Christchurch Hospital with serious injuries.
I remember going home at about midnight, but I don't think anyone in the city slept that night. The following day, people were still trying to figure out exactly what had happened. The Muslim community were gathering at Hagley College. Armed police guarded every single entrance to the school. The Prime Minister, Jacinda Ardern, arrived in Christchurch at about the same time.
It was an important opportunity for us to share the grief of New Zealanders directly with those who have experienced so much loss. Many of you will have been there and know that the discussion firstly acknowledged that this is not the New Zealand that any of us know.
But it was at Hagley College where I met the most incredible young man, Muhammad Abdul Halim. He lost 4 close friends in the attack.
My dad was fine, he was unhurt, and so was my brother. My mum was shot on the arm, and thankfully she is making a good recovery, and she has been discharged from hospital and now is present with the rest of the community behind us here at the Hagley College.
You lost some close friends though as well, didn't you?
Did. Yep, I have. I lost a number of my very, very close childhood friends, all very, very good men. The 3 of them had young families, and we were all raised together here as immigrants from about 25 years ago. Most of us went to Christchurch schools and Canterbury University, and all of us were law-abiding good citizens, that family people that had no malice and no aggression and nothing but love for this country. Sorry.
You are New Zealanders.
We sure are.
You are New Zealanders.
Of course we are, and we're proud of it, and we've shown a great deal of support by everybody here, and it's been really good. We just want our loved ones back now. We want to lay them to rest. We want to bury who needs burying, and we want to look after the injured and the sick.
At the same time, the Christchurch City Council were asking people to leave flowers and other tributes outside the Botanic Gardens along Rolleston Avenue. We went there not long after that announcement, and over the coming hours and days, that wall grew and grew and grew. A line of flowers turned into an absolute sea of flowers, news media taking up every available space in front of it. Thousands of people coming down to pay their respects, any fear of gathering in a public place completely gone.
We just need to come and mourn. We need a place to come and cry and feel the love and the support. The overwhelming strength that we're feeling from here. It's amazing.
It's just a shock it happened in New Zealand, because you just didn't think it would ever happen here. It's just like unbelievable, really. It's terrible.
Over the following week, checkpoints met many of the people who lost loved ones in the attacks. Among them was Hanan Al-Adim, who lost her husband, Dr. Amjad Hamid, a cardiologist who'd worked at Christchurch Hospital for 20 years. She was in transit at Melbourne Airport when she heard about the attacks. She spoke to Checkpoint's host, Lisa Owen.
After I did my booking and everything, someone was doing a survey about the duty-free in Melbourne, and I said, oh look, I didn't have the chance, I just finished arranging for my trip to Christchurch. And she said, oh, you are in our thoughts and we really feel for you. And I said, why, what happened? And she said, she told me about what's happened, and that's when I got worried. I called my son and he said, Mom, we're okay, we're fine, don't worry, everyone is okay. And I said, okay, fine, I've just finished my booking and I will arrive at that time. Because I tried to call Amjad and he didn't answer. I called him first and he didn't answer. And I don't know, something was, I don't know, I had a strange feeling. So I called him again and I said, where is your dad? And he said that he'd gone to the mosque and that he'd called him 13 times and he didn't answer. And he said, but Mom, don't worry, I'm sure he will be busy, helping the injured people. And that's when I, started to feel something is not right, because I haven't heard from him. I tried to call him, he didn't answer. I messaged him, he didn't answer, and so that's when I heard about it. I heard about it in Melbourne when I was waiting for my flight to Christchurch.
And when did you know that he wasn't going to be coming home?
Actually, when I arrived in Christchurch, Amjad's niece and her husband, with my boys, they picked me up from the airport, and I asked to go straight to the mosque because I wanted to make sure that he wasn't there. I went there to look for his car, but of course the area was, cordoned. We couldn't have access. So I walked along the side, in the park to look for his car. I couldn't see it. I know the spot that he always parked his car in. It wasn't there, and I thought maybe he didn't go to the mosque, but I had doubts, but where else would he be? So I had a call from a friend. She asked me where I was, and she said, I thought of you. I don't know why I thought of you. They didn't know that he was there also. She said, because she was calling all the people from the community, to check on everyone. And I told her that he was in the mosque, and she said, and I told her that I would go to the hospital to check. She asked me to go to Hagley College because there was a gathering there. There were
the imams and things were gathering. The imams and things were gathering at the college.
The community, to discuss what's happened and what's going to happen. And so I went there, and my Amjad's niece, she's a lawyer. She spoke to one of the policemen who were there, and she asked about the injured people, and so he told her that all the injured people they had a list of all the injured people in the hospital, and she said, but auntie, we saw that list, and Amjad's name is not on the list. That's when I thought that
you knew.
Yeah, I felt that he's not coming back.
Within weeks, worshippers were allowed to return to the mosques, but for some it wasn't easy. My colleague Alex Perrottet spoke to one man, Abdul Rahiman, after he returned to the Al Noor Mosque.
That incident of that day is just still fresh in my mind. And when I came here, actually I came here on Saturday when the mosque was open to the public with my son, and we did a small prayer inside. And now this is the first time for me to come this area from the door which I managed to escape. And it's, I don't have words. I just feel that everything is all, fresh. Everything is happening, is still happening. Yeah.
What was that prayer that you prayed on Saturday?
Just like Thanksgiving. We thanked the Almighty that, for me, I'm alive, and we prayed for the people who have departed, those were shot and dead, and those who are still recovering in the hospital.
While some had mental scars, others were not so lucky and had serious physical wounds. 2 weeks after the attack, we met Al Sinawi at Christchurch Hospital. He's 63 years old, and it might be years before he can walk again. He described to us what he saw on the day of the shootings.
But no one is, saying any word. No, it's very calm, and it's I don't know how it happened. Even when he was shooting the people, nobody screamed, nobody say something, or just to show that he's in pain. Just shooting the people. They died when it's about 50 people died, and nobody say any word. I don't know how it happened, to be honest with you. I don't think it. We saw movies when start people shooting. Start someone shooting others. You'll find they screaming, or because they are in a severe pain.
But now it's the 15th of April, 1 month since the shootings. Christchurch has changed a lot. Worshippers now fill both mosques again. Flower tributes still wrap around the trees in Hagley Park. Armed police still stand watch over the mosques, although the city seems to have relaxed just a little. But for some people, the events of March 15 are still front and centre. Faisal Sayad works in the central city. He's lived in Christchurch for a decade. He was in the Linwood Mosque when a gunman opened fire. For our interview, he took us up to the top of the building, one of the highest in Christchurch. Looking over a city which has lost so much, he told us what he saw on March 15, and that started with complete disbelief.
It was heartbreaking. It still is heartbreaking. I think a lot of people have moved on, and for me, particularly being there, held up in Linwood, I was in Linwood Mosque. It was just another day for us, and we were standing in the prayers congregation, and then we just heard a shot, and we thought that somebody just acting funny, and maybe have just thrown something against the mosque. We did not think about it could be that to that scale, but when we heard the second one and there was a scream along with it, we felt it was something dangerous.
But the reality turned out to be far darker.
And then the third time when it happened, and one of the brothers, he left the congregation and just wanted to just speak out and see what's happening, and that's the time he screamed out that there's somebody killing our brothers, and that's where there was a panic that got active, and everybody was on their knees. There were still people who were praying. There was one of the brothers who was just in his prayers, and this gunman did not know where to come from. I think that he got confused with the entrance because we've got one door which is sealed and there's a back door that people come from. So he was just shooting from left, right and center, and that's where this brother was standing to his left hand side, and he was just behind me, and then he got headshot, and that's where he fell on the ground. And because it was coming from left, right and center, we were just on the knees, and the volume of the brothers assembled into one corner, pretending that we are safe, but we were not, of course, because we were thinking that this gunman is going to come anytime and start doing, his shooting. Fortunately, when he was coming in, there was one brother who saw him, and he threw a FPOS machine onto him, and that's where he got confused. He dropped the gun, and he ran after it. There was a self-defense that was done, and so forth, and that's how he ran away. I could see my brothers just there and falling on the floor. I had a mind blank, and it seemed that it is clear, but still, you're thinking about escaping, and you're thinking about, how can you take others. I had my dad here as well, and he was visiting here, and he had a flight just after 1 week. So I had my father, and I had my other friend as well, who was very close to me. So we all three were together, and just had this mind freeze and just be looking at each other.
But it was the feeling of complete helplessness which proved to be the most debilitating.
I've seen my death this close. I've seen friends falling on the floor, seeking for help, but I've never found myself so helpless ever in my life, as much as I did on that day. I didn't see the gunman personally, but one of my friends saw it, and he knew that he was in camouflage. He had a helmet and whatnot, and then as soon as he left, obviously the forces were in, the emergency forces were in, and they were almost similar dress. So we all freaked out, like, what's going to happen? Is it similar? Is it the same? Are they going to shoot us too? So there was a moment where all of us were freezed, and it was an reassurance to us that, hey, it's the emergency forces, you're all safe, everything is okay. And that's the time everybody started crying and screaming and yelling and trying to help each other. Was quite bitter. It's quite bitter. Something that I would never even want to think about. Really, it's a memory that everybody wants to erase from their life and journey. But I think from the ones who has touched it as close as myself, it is going to be very hard to change it.
While Faisal hasn't been physically injured, some around him were not so lucky. At this point, we took a break in our interview and looked out over the city. Below we could see commuters starting to fill up the city streets, children playing in the parks, never-ending Christchurch construction work. It's a city Faisal loves, but it's not a city he can share with some friends anymore, including one man who wouldn't stop praying when the shooting began.
He just continued praying, and believe it or not, he was just there. He was standing, and I really don't know in regards with why he was doing what he was doing. But I think it's the faith that made him do what he did, and I think you really need to be brave to do that, and to continue your prayers and have the faith in Lord, and that you'll be okay. I don't know whether he accepted that it is what it is, or he was so engrossed and focused in his prayers that he didn't realize as to what's happening. I just can't comment that. But he's definitely left a big void in the community, and in the families and the friends. He was a very close friend of us.
1 month on, Faisal says there are many challenges the local Muslim community faces. One of those is security.
Moving forward, I guess people are looking at, in Christchurch, a lot of people, of course, would be very, very skeptical about what's happening in regards with security. People who are directly impacted by it or indirectly impacted, they have apprehensions about how safe they are. Okay, I don't doubt that we've got immense amount of security right now deployed everywhere around Christchurch, but that fear is always going to be there. There are a lot of people, it's unfortunate, they're not coming for prayers because they're still afraid that we can't go there, and if we go there, we will have the recollection of the day, and it'll trigger the trauma and feelings that they don't want to be in.
But another issue is money. When we last checked, the total amount donated to victims was reaching close to $20 million across multiple funds. But at this stage, most hasn't been distributed. Faisal is part of one of the committees involved in figuring out how to distribute the money.
There are families out there, for them, financial support, basic things like grocery and all of that, scale, like getting the immigration done for their families, and to expedite the process and ease out the process is a few things that will make a lot of difference. A lot of people are unknown of the fact because they're not in a constant active touch with media right now, but there's a lot of things happening behind the scene, and a lot of people will have apprehensions and anger as well as to why the money has not been deployed yet. But every system has you need to follow the right procedures. This is what is happening with this as well. Yes, we've got the funds now. How are we going to be deploying that funds to, and how equally and how fairly, and who's going to decide all of that? So the leaders of the community are definitely working very hard and behind the background.
But in the end, for Faisal, what is needed is simple.
We just need to be making sure that we take a stand onto hate speech, into anything that is not fair. Okay, and just make sure that we do our bit of peace and unity, I guess.
Peace and unity. One of the most well-known examples of that following the shooting is that wall of flowers beside the Botanic Gardens.
The evening of the day when the atrocity happened, we talked about where we dedicate, for flowers to be taken. We wanted to have a place that was easily accessible, and so it wasn't difficult to decide on Rolleston Avenue, just outside the Botanic Garden wall. It's close to the hospital as well, so, and quite close to Linwood Mosque, so we wanted a central place where people can come and pay their respects, but also give their support, lay flowers if they wish, and other tributes. I mean, to me, it's, yes, it's a sad thing, because of what's happened as part of it, but it's also so heartening that so many people are supporting Christchurch, supporting the Muslim community, but also supporting New Zealand, because there are people flying in from abroad to see this wall and to bring their offerings, and I think that's just fantastic.
That's Wolfgang Bopp, who runs the Botanic Gardens. But that sea of flowers has now withered and died. Cards, art and soft toys dirty from the rain. Fallen leaves building up over the tributes.
Yeah, what we're now doing is we're actually taking the oldest tributes away, concentrating on the flowers in particular, and what the team is doing is taking those in crates across to a sorting room. We've got a room in the Arts Centre they're kindly letting us use, and there we're actually separating out the cellophane wrapping, all the messages. All the flowers are going to be composted, and then we've got that compost available for the Muslim community. They might want to use it in the two mosques in their gardens there, or for another purpose. So once the compost is ready, we will then make that available to them.
Dozens of garden staff and volunteers are here sorting, carrying and cataloguing the tributes. However, Wolfgang says they're still coming.
It's very symbolic, and to be honest, that's one reason why we're keeping some of it. So part of the wall behind here, we're keeping the dedications on the wall itself at the moment, and some of the freshest flowers we're moving there, because people are still bringing tributes, they're still bringing flowers. Yesterday I was talking to 2-3 parties, and it was the first day back in Christchurch, or maybe they were from Christchurch, now moved away and come back to actually see friends and family here and see the tribute wall as well. So we're going to keep that going for a while, because while the interest is there and while people want to offer, we just feel we want to have that in place.
39 people who were hit by bullets during the attack survived. While some have been discharged from Christchurch's hospitals, others are not so lucky. One of those is Tamal Atachuju. He's at Bearwood Hospital. He's here for rehabilitation. And just a warning, this interview contains some distressing content.
I have injuries on my face, and my arm, and then right knee, and then my left legs from back cast, and then all around between my hips. So this is Friday 15th of March, that gunman shooting the people and murdering to the 50 other peoples, and then 39 other victims for injuries from the shotgun. Yeah, and I have 9 bullets in my body, and what doctor said, and 6 bullets taken with operation from my body, and 3 other bullets is just coming and gone, or scratch or touch my my body. So, which is doctor said total bullets, 9 bullets on my body.
So you've had 9 bullets hit you?
Yes, hit me.
On March the 15th?
Yes.
Tamal is now trying to regain control of his arms and legs. He talked me through how he got these injuries, which will leave large scars all over his arms, legs and face. Some of his teeth are also shattered due to a bullet going through his lip.
First shot is come my face, because when I heard the sounds outside, few shotguns sounds coming, bang bang, and then of course people stopped, because we were listening khutbah Friday, which is Imam prayers, is make a speech and telling about, advising about the life from the Quran, or messages from the God, Allah. So of course when we listen that, when sounds coming, everybody stop, try to understand what's going on. And when me too, of course, when I look at, I see the gunman in targeting, and then I see when he's smoke coming out from gun, because I've been in army and I know that he's targeted, and I see the eyes to him, so I understand he targeting me, but he shot already, and I feel the deep pain. But same time I think this is my muscles closed when it's touched, and anyway find out my all this side of the face is broken, and bullets was steady, and they take it out. We stand up, and then I see that he's doing serial shooting, so of course all coming to the legs too, but I didn't notice because of adrenaline, I think. And it's like everything slow motion, like a Matrix movie. I feel it all like a bullets coming, and that was a little bit emotionally. And then I was shocked and surprised, and I tried to understand what's going on. And at the same time, run away from the shooting area because he's coming through the shooting through the hallway from the gate.
But it didn't stop.
I feel shooting behind my legs, and then 2 or 3 more shots I feel on my arm too. And I just praying, and people's crying. Of course, every time when he is shooting outside, less sounds coming. And then the worst part is also top of me and behind of me is I see the people's, I feel that the big shot is coming there too. Bang, bang, bang. And head explode, of course. I don't want to say this but to the public, but, brain and blood's all licking me. And then I said, no, please, enough. And then I don't remember after that, but I think he stopped and he's gone after that because I can't hear any more sounds. Behind me, the sounds stop. Top of me, no more sounds. All around me, the people, I can't hear any other sounds. They are alive. And I was thinking, am I alive or am I dead? I don't know too. I pull myself. And then I look at my legs. I have a brand new jeans, brand new nice tops, and lots of holes, lots of ripped. I said, what's going on here? I wear the new jeans. Why this is all hole? Now I look at what's happened to my arm? I wasn't sure, I was shocked. Am I dead or am I alive? And then I tried to be pulling out and then lift out this arm too. I can't because of the broken and it's like a jelly bean, like that. I realized that I'm alive when I crawling out, and then I look at myself, and then when I test that smoke from the gun, the powder is too much shooting, so make it too much smoke inside after the gun smoke, and I test, and then I feel hurt. I said, I'm alive, but I'm very bad injured, and I can spit out the blood from when because I realized it's all broken too. I said, oh my God, I lost my face. I was thinking, because I have a shot and I was thinking explode and then this is all missing. I was thinking. But luckily it didn't happen. It's just stay in my bones and my teeth, I believe it, Allah saved my life, because it's one line between death to stay alive. I think it's Allah hands is to the same, like, hang on a minute, you have still do something in this earth.
Tamel was eventually rushed to Christchurch Hospital, but there things got even harder.
Sometimes somebody dropped the bottle, make a bang sound and make me, what's going on, and is screaming and telling, make me grumpy. And mentally, I'm really affected that time. And then I'm still affected, I'm very quick, grumpy to people, I'm very frustrating very quickly. It's quite affecting, it's not easy, big trauma for myself, for my body, and people around me too. And then lots of pains that time, and then I thinking people's on purpose coming and hurt me, feel like that. Even nurses, I was thinking they're gonna try to kill me. The first week I was thinking. Then, of course, after that, they put me one side room. They find it a small room by myself, privacy. And I can't sleep too. I couldn't sleep very well too. And they put me there, and then that night I slept like a baby, quiet, not much visitors. They control the visitors. Even my own brothers, they're not allowed to get in because when I sleep, they don't want to disturb me. And how long I can sleep, that much easy for mentally help me and recovery faster too.
There are still many obstacles ahead, one of those being work. Tamel is not just an employee, he is also an active business owner.
One day we made decision with my best friend to open a kebab shop, and now I'm kebab shop owner. Ottoman Turkish kebab. Next to make a little bit advertising here. Corner of the Tuam Street, Colombo Street, Ottoman Turkish kebab. We are the best. Forget the rest.
Has what's happened impacted your work much?
At the moment, share business, and my best friend is the sharing half, and he is looking after the business. I'm employer and employee too. Same. I used to work 50 hours full time there, also too, but now he has to work for us double time. I mean, he is working longer than normal hours what he's supposed to do it. So, and he's managing the business same time for us.
Do you see yourself back at work anytime soon?
Inshallah. I want to work, of course. I want to work, but how much is I'm allowed to do, we will see. I don't know. I can't tell exactly when, but I want to be like a normal person too, as soon as possible.
He was eventually transferred here to Burwood Hospital a bit over a week ago. Here it is quieter, and Tamel is starting to regain control over his body. Every day those wounds are just a little bit less painful, those memories a little easier to deal with. 1 month ago today, Tamel was trying to figure out if he was alive or dead, his arms and legs useless. But now, 1 month on, Tamel is walking again. He is slow and he can't raise his hands when he walks, but he can now walk around the hospital.
Every day I add on. I do lots of practicing for recovery. So I'm a little bit stubborn man, and I'm competitive also. As soon as possible, I try my muscles back again, and then I want to use my hands again like a normal time. I know it won't be 100%, but how much I can improve, I will do. I will do how much I can do for myself to do proper using my hands and arm.
But for Tamel, March 15 will be a day he will never, ever forget.
I can see already my future's bright, and I'm more different than before because I'm reborn, as I told you, and I don't know how many days passed. But my new birthday, 15th of March, so 2019.